Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Q&A for Nearpod Trading Series Session 1. Today, we're going to be discussing about the new test question types and how you can use Nearpod for graphing, number line, and hotspot. Just a brief reminder of our housekeeping rules. Keep your mic muted. Feel free to type questions in the chat. Debbie and myself are here. We'll be looking at the chat questions, and we'll be able to answer them immediately. If you have not registered, please do so on the professional development system by adding session 267408. And remember to sign in with remote checking code PSJA Tech. So start test prep with Nearpod. This is a process and not an event. Let's look at the agenda real quick. We're going to be talking about hotspot with auto feedback and also hotspot using highlighting tools. Then we're going to go into graphic. This will be more secondary for using the drawing tool and graphing within Nearpod. Lastly, number line using the drawing tool as well. And then we're going to show you how we can create these slides on Google Slides and exporting them with Nearpod using the Nearpod extension. Hotspot questions examples. On the left, we see what we're going to be looking at. I'm going to ask you to join with Nearpod, giving you the code for it. So the first few slides will be, you will be able to select the correct answer, and it will take you to the next slide. If you answer incorrectly, it will tell you try again, and we'll bring you back to the first slide. Second on this type of question, we're going to be doing a current event picture where you're going to be selecting with highlights where you feel the correct answer will be. And this using the drawing tool. Then will be an example of a Cartesian plane where you will be able to do a graph and answer the question. And lastly, you will be doing the same thing, but in a number line and solving with that. So at this point, I'm going to put in the chat the link so you can join us on the Nearpod. It will be code IRZJL. I also put the link on the chat, so just go ahead and feel free and let me exit this in here and go to the Nearpod and start student paste. Now, one of the things that I was discussing with Debbie right now is that for this to work better, especially for the auto answer, is to use the student space. If you use a live participation, you can do so, but not in the scenario of auto feedback that I'm going to show you how to create, because those are slides that have links in them that will take you to a next slide or a forward slide. And if you do live participation, it will not allow you to go forward if you do it that way. So student space is how we're going to do it right now. I guess I'm going to have to change the join Nearpod code. I'm going to put it again on the chat right now. Boop, boop, boop. And Debbie, remind me at the end just to add it also to the slides if we're going to share them with something so they have it, and they will be open for 29 days for people to access it that are watching the recording. So go ahead and start looking. I'm going to go to the live participation one for right now and launch it while you guys are doing the self-paced. So this is how it looks like in the student view. You have a background. And then there, if you can hover over it, you will see that there are hotspots in here. The question in here says, what is the third stage of the butterfly life cycle? Anybody here would like to answer that question for me? Jonathan, Veronica, Sinaida, or Debbie? Go ahead. Tell me the third stage of the butterfly life cycle.
Chrysalis.
Chrysalis will be correct. But if you click on larva, it will take you to try again. You go back. If you click on chrysalis, it will tell you correct, and then you will go to the next slide. In here, it tells you to select the state whose capital is Austin. What state will that be? Dun, dun, dun. Nobody knows the state whose capital is Austin?
Texas.
Thank you, Veronica. So in here, I also created a hotspot. In here, you can see that if you select in any of these areas, it will take you to try again, and it will take you back to the same slide. But if you click Texas, it will tell you that you're correct, and then you'll be able to go to the next slide. Now, this is all the hotspots with auto response. I created this using Google Slides, and I'm going to show you how I created them shortly. But for in the meantime, I want to show you the hotspots with the Draw It tool. You are on a self-paced Nearpod, so I want you to do it on your own as well. I added this current event. This is a little bit more secondary social studies. So using a highlighter tool, select the area on the map where there is a current conflict where the whole world is looking. So you will click on the highlighting tool like I asked you to. There's also a link in here that will tell you what events I'm talking about if you need some help. But if you've been paying attention, what kind of world conflict is happening at this point? Jonathan, Veronica, Zenaida, Debbie, who can tell me? What countries are fighting?
Syria.
That might be correct, but where are we looking at right now with two of our biggest, everybody looking at it right now?
The Ukraine, Russia.
Russia and the Ukraine. So it will be, you can highlight in this area over here where the Ukraine is. And you can say these are the, you can put it red if you want, but this will be the areas where the conflict is happening. If you do in teacher view, you will see what is happening in the background right now. Since I am doing the teacher paste right now, or the live participation, it's not showing me y'all because you're not here, but you will be able to see and submit on your own. Now remember, if you do have the immersive reader option on, you can click on this little book with a speaker. Now let me make sure that I have the audio sharing feature on, and it's not going to let me because I'm on the wrong. Let me see if I change this to. See if it will let me now. Okay, so now you should be able to hear. I'm not being able to hear you because I had to put something else on. So you can have the students can have that read to them. Can you hear this
Using
right
the
now?
highlighter tools, select the area in the map where there is current conflict, where the whole world is looking.
And if your students is an EB and you want them to be read in Spanish, you can click on the book, select the language in here, go all the way to Spanish. I like Spanish Mexico, but you can actually click Spanish Spain and it will have a Spanish accent from Spain. But you have to select whole document for the translation to happen, and then you can have it read.
Actualidades. Con las herramientas de resaltador, seleccione el área en el mapa donde hay conflicto actual donde todo el mundo está mirando.
I think that's pretty cool. Especially anything that you type in this area, you can have read to your students. So here it gets a little bit tougher. Who likes math and who's going to be able to do this? So use the graph of a linear function. F passes through the point 1 and -6 and has a slope of -3. Draw the graph and write the value of x when y is 0. Now let me change here so I can hear you again. And I'm going to do that here, and I'm going to select, I want green color for Debbie today. So I'm going to look for 1 and -6. So that will be, I will be drawing right here is, oh, okay, cool. It will let me draw it. This is 1 and -6. And now to be able to do the, so I'm going to just write it right here. So this is the formula, y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. So it will be y minus y1 will be -6. So it will be, that will go parentheses -6. This is horrible in writing. And then the slope is m. So that will be -3, -3. And then inside will be x minus 1. We solve this, it will be y plus 6 equals -3x plus 3, y plus 3 equals 3x. And then we switch around, it will be x equals y plus 3 divided by 3. So if y is 0, then x is going to be 1, because if you'll have 3 divided by 3 only. So then if x is 0, y is 0, x is going to be 1. Oh, so it's a straight line. That's a very interesting thing. Interesting. Okay, cool. And then, boom, 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 we go to the next one. Use the number line, and I'm going to put it in here just so you can hear it again. Let me see if it will let me. No, I have to switch this again. And let's put this to be read to us.
Use the number line to represent the solution of 6x less than 42. Draw in and show your work.
All right, so now that we know that we need to put 6, oh, this is too big. 6x is smaller than 42. We're going to have to put x smaller than 42 divided by 6. So what is 42 divided by 6, everyone?
7.
All right. So that means that x is smaller than 7. So you're going to have to go to 7. You have to go here. And this is where you go to. And this is your solution. It can be anywhere from here to here. So those are just representations on how you can draw a tool for hotspot and graphing and number lining. And now that we did that, I'm going to show you how I did, especially the first ones, because it was a little tricky, but it was fun to create. So we go here. This is actually the Nearpod itself on Google Slides first. As you can see, I created that. I put a background of the life cycle of the butterfly. What I created here, these are just shapes, and I made them transparent. So what you can do is just click on a shape, grab any shape that you want, and you draw it. You see that it's not transparent. But you will click in here in the fill out, and it will go into transparent. Make sure that also in the line, the border color is transparent, because if not, it's going to show a color. Once you put it, just put it on top wherever you want to do it. Let me just delete this one so I can show you. Here it is. And then you can go here to the hyperlinking and use a link and select where you want to go. So if they click on eggs, we want them to go to the try again slide because it's incorrect. So you will put a slide into a presentation. You can put next, but I actually like to put the number of the actual slide number that it goes to. This one goes to slide 2. The one here also goes to slide 2 because it's not larva. Same one here, it goes to next slide, but like I said, I want to put it into slide 2, just in case something happens. Chrysalis will go to slide 3 because slide 2 is try again, which also has an overlay of another what you call another shape that is translucent here for slide 1. And 3, which is the correct one, has an overlay of next slide or slide 4. This one was a little bit trickier. In a perfect world, I actually drew Texas and made it transparent. And it worked on the first time that I did it, but once I started adding slides, it acted up weird. So I started doing just shapes in here. I was able to do let me just make a copy of this. Duplicate it. Might as well just duplicate it. So if you see here, not this, but I'm going to take away everything that I did in here and I'll show you what I had. So what I had done in here, and it works on slides if you're going to do it like that for hotspot. You can do the scribble and you can go in here and actually highlight everything in here, and it looks a little bit easier. What I had to do shapes and put so many shapes because once I transferred to Nearpod after the last time, it wasn't doing it. But as you can see, that shape, I can make it into a slide and I can select it to go to slide 6. Same thing, I can do another scribble for the rest of the US. So I'm going to click scribble. Wait. And I just grab here and I just went around. Ooh, so if they click anywhere else in the map that is not Texas, then I'm going to put it in here and make it to go to slide 5. I mean, slide 6 is good. This one is the one that I want them to go to slide 7. So when you go here, what do you think? There is a line all around. How can I fix that? Did anybody pay attention when I talked about that earlier? Well, in case you didn't, you go here and you put transparent for the outline. Same thing in here. Now, it doesn't show. So if they click in this one, they will go to try. This one should be try again. I guess I didn't put the, it's this one. Hold on. There we go. And it works correctly. Now, it didn't transfer today. When I have done it in the past, it did. That's why I had to create little just shapes that will fit within Texas, and I put them all into slide 7. And then I made bigger shapes that will go to slide 6. So just in case the scribbling wasn't working to transfer to Nearpod, like I did in here, you can use squares to just make it fit on the shape, whatever you need to do, and that would still be like an active hotspot. The other ones, I just created a drawing and I actually created a new slide, and I had looked in here for a background. So I go into background, I choose an image, and I look for a Google image, and I look for map of Europe. I picked one that was in gray, so it doesn't have names or anything. I'm like, this one is kind of cool if you want to see the flags. So in here, what I did, I opened the Nearpod extension automatically. Now it's going to tell me to edit the slide first, and then I will be able to save it because that slide is already on Nearpod. So I'm going to edit this, and I converted it to draw it. You can ask any questions that is relevant to whatever you're teaching. What I was trying to do is give some relevancy to secondary and do current events. So what I did, I put edit a draw it. That's automatic, really cool. And you click then edit the slide, and it opens up the draw it, and then you can put the instruction here. Of course, you can add an image, audio recorder, PDF viewer, video, or an audio or web content. What I did was web content, and I put a website address that gives you relevant information from CNN on what's happening in the world. So the instruction was current. See, that's why we need to put our students to type, because then we can make a lot of mistakes when we're trying to type. And learning.com, we pay for it and has typing keys, keyboarding. So current events, select the country in between Spain and Italy. This had to be capitalized. So in here, directions, use the highlighter tool and select the country. You can add a timer. So if you want your students to have a minute, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you can select as much as you want. I selected not to put a timer, but you can. Remember, you can do these practices self-paced for the students. So they will be doing it on their own. They can do it in small grouping. They can do it during center time. The next slide is the one, it's just similar to the one that I just created. So once I created the draw it, I deleted this slide. I just used it for the background. Now you can create this directly on Nearpod, but since I created the other ones on Google Slides, every time you click edit, is going to take you back to Google Slides. So you don't need this slide. I deleted it. I just keep the one that says draw it in there. Make sure you don't delete this one. This one is the one that has the interactive activity. Same thing with this one, which is very similar to the activity above. Same thing with here in the draw it. I did also a background, then deleted that background slide after I converted it into draw it. But I did add a resource picture in here. So how to graph, I gave you the example of y minus y1 equals the m, which is the slope, and then x minus x1 times x. And then I gave you some that you can graph, and then I gave you all the information in here as well. As again, you can add a timer. Lastly was the number line, and it's very similar to the graphing because you're using the drawing tool and then you're able to draw in your screen. Now for our students that have Chromebooks, they can use their fingers to draw. Those Chromebooks are touch, so they don't have to use the touchpad and draw with a touchpad or with a mouse like I was doing it and showcasing it for you. Lastly, I just put a ending saying, great job, you can try again. So what I want to see right now for your participation on the Nearpod that was self-paced, let's see how you guys did. I see something in the chat, or that was Debbie. Oh yes, Jonathan, you got it correct. Make it transparent. So the transparency has to be gone. Good job on that. So now that I have this in here, let me save the changes. I might not be able to get that data because I made changes on it. Let's see. Reports. Student paste. So in the student pace, I saw that Debbie participated in all of them. Sanida did just the first one. Jonathan did all of them as well. And let's see what they did. Very close, Sanida. That was a really good answer. Debbie, that's really close as well. But just remember, the border is with Russia. It says right here. And also, actually, it will be also kind of like the C as well. And then you're showing me here the X's. You're showing me your work. Very good. Good job. That's pretty accurate to Jonathan, but it's more in this area over here between Ukraine and Russia. Awesome. So you can see everything in the reports. And I guess I went a little quickly and talked too fast, but I have time to answer any questions about how we created these slides to make it hotspot auto answering for students. So you don't even have to tell them they did it right or wrong. They get an auto response. Is there any questions from anybody? Feel free to unmute your mic or type on the chat. All right, let me continue on with this part over here. If there's no questions. So that was easy to understand, I'm assuming?
Yeah, just so everybody knows, the hotspot that Val did with the stages of the butterfly, that had to be created in the Google Slides, which
Right.
then he added to Nearpod. So it's not a Nearpod, interactivity per se, but if you're doing an other activities within that Nearpod, it was easy enough to add that and create the hotspot activity.
It's a trick.
Yeah,
that we
so it was pretty
figured
cool.
out. Yeah, that made me very happy that it was actually working, because I had created it originally for Google Slides to make it interactive. And I was like, let me see if it will transfer to Nearpod, but it doesn't transfer entirely. That little thing with the map, and I was trying to do it irked me because I was trying to make more of it this morning to offer you guys more examples, but it was working first. Maybe I just need to renew it and do it brand new and it will work again. So remember, a lot of the things that we recommend is to start your slides on Google Slides instead of starting them from Nearpod. And the reason for that is just in case we don't have Nearpod in the future, you have your work still and you keep it with you. You can use the Nearpod extension if you go under extensions, Nearpod, and then open Nearpod. And sometimes it asks you to sign in with your credentials and then it will show something weird. So once you sign in, close it and then open the extension again, and it will allow you to do the interactive activities in there as well. Again, this was our first session of Nearpod training series 1 for February. Come back and see us tomorrow at 7:15 in the morning for our third Java chat with our spotlighting one of our CITs tomorrow. So tomorrow from 7:15, 7:45, you can join us on Teams Live or listen to our podcasts later. We actually do have it on Google Podcast, on Apple Podcast, on Spotify Podcast, on Amazon Podcast. I podcast it everywhere. After that, you also have an Unmute and Recharge on Thursday, and we are only doing the first session 267401. We merge the middle school and our other session. So it's just going to be one session on Thursday. Next week, we do have some trainings planned. They might be changing. We will keep you updated on that. And on Wednesday, the 22nd, we have another CIT Spotlight for Java Chat. We do have at our Unmute and Recharge live at Murphy Middle School Library on Saturday, February 25th from 8:30 to 10. That will be people presenting about student production and creations. That's the focus on that. And without further ado, Debbie, do you have anything else to add?
No, just that our next 2 Nearpod sessions are going to be with a Nearpod presenter, expert from
Correct.
Nearpod. So join those if you can. They're going to continue on different kinds of test types. Hopefully we're still holding those the next 2 weeks. Like Val said, we might make a change, but if we do, we will definitely let you know that. But as of now, those are the next 2 Tuesdays. But yeah, thanks for joining us. We do have, we can do a door prize. We have 3 people in attendance today. So do you want to do a claw or do you want to do just pick a number, Val?
Let's do a claw. I like claw. And let me show
Okay.
you how we do the claw so people can do that. I just do claw random machine name picker. It takes us to this crane claw machine. It loads and you go to the settings to the gear and then you can select names, but we just do numbers. Since there's 3 of you, 1, 2, 3. And then we start the number picker. And then we go into, let me change my settings again so you guys can hear the pretty noise that happens. I don't know why it doesn't like me to do it with the speakers. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Number 3. The winner is number 3.
Number 3 is Margarita Garza. And you can see we just have the 3 names written here. And number 3 is Margarita.
Ms. Garza, are you still here with us? Please let us know either by unmuting yourself or posting it on the chat. Okay, if you're not here, you're not win.
Yes, I'm still
Oh,
here.
okay. Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Now, Ms. Garza, do you have any questions about what we presented? I know you got here a little bit late. I'm going to stop the recording now, but you will have access to the recording. And while I was